Hello, everybody. Hey, this is Cal Banyan, and this is the Secret Language of Feelings program. Today I'm going to tell you why people do such crazy stuff. Why do people eat too much, drink too much, smoke too much, shop too much, sex too much, work too much, and all those too much behaviors. And while I'm at it, I'm going to give you an overview of what the Secret Language of Feelings is really all about. So, keep listening. Today I'm going to talk about why people do such crazy stuff. Why they eat too much, drink too much, smoke too much, eat too much. Oh, I already said that. Well, when they do all that too much behavior. And while I'm at it, I'm going to start giving you an overview of the whole system of the Secret Language of Feelings. Learn this, and you'll have an unfair advantage over everyone. All right. Thanks for sticking with us. Now, let me tell you what. Today I'm almost overwhelmed. I just have so much stuff to cover. Once again, this is Cal Banyan. I'm the author of the book, The Secret Language of Feelings, used by enlightened hypnotherapists, hypnotists, counselors, hypnosis professionals, and colleges all around the country. You can get the book, The Secret Language of Feelings, on our website, thesecretlanguageoffeelings.com, or even on Amazon.com. To participate in the discussion, you'll want to go to www.groups.yahoo.com/group/The Secret Language of Feelings. You'll find a group there where people are talking about the application of the Secret Language of Feelings. So what is the Secret Language of Feelings? It's a way of understanding the wisdom of emotions, a wisdom that was never meant to be kept secret. A greater wisdom than you or I decided that we should feel a certain way when we've made certain perceptions. So, let me get right into it. Why do we do such crazy stuff? Why do people eat when they don't want to be eating, drink alcoholic beverages when it's ruining their life, and so on? I'll tell you the truth. They have a feeling inside themselves that they don't like. They feel either angry or sad or lonely or frustrated or even depressed. And guess what? We've been told all our lives that we shouldn't feel that way. We've learned to deny, to repress, to ignore, and to just forget all about it. And one of the ways we've learned to do that is by simply putting our attention on something else. Let me give you an example. If you're a little boy and you start to feel sad, I mean really sad, and you're starting to have those big old alligator tears come down, you know what's likely to happen? Well, if you had an evil stepfather like I did, he might come up to you and say, hold up his fist and say, that's all right, keep it up, I'll give you something to cry about. And what happens? We learn to suck it all inside and say, oh, I'm okay, I'm not crying, I'm all right. Let's talk about if you were a little girl. Take a little girl, she's got some friends over and they're playing a game on the floor, a nice little board game, and she begins to suspect that somebody isn't playing fair. She might stand up, put her hands on her hips, and say, you stop that. That's not fair. She's angry and her face turns red. And then her mother might come in and say, hey, you play nice. If you can't play nice, you're not going to play at all. And she'll just stuff that feeling down and say, okay, Mommy, I'll play nice. Later on in her life, she might be scolded for becoming angry. She might be teased by her girlfriends. She might be told, oh, gosh, that's attractive. And one of her friends might counsel her and tell her, you know what? If you go around getting angry like that, nobody's going to want to date you. And so over and over, we get the feeling that we better not feel bad. In fact, we begin to feel bad for feeling bad. We suck it up and we just deny it. Here's another example of what can happen. Imagine that there's a mother or a father walking down the sidewalk with their child. Could be just a toddler, just learning to talk just learning to walk just in that very beginning stages of life on a beautiful day outside, walking through the neighborhood. And everything is so beautiful. And then what happens? An uneven part of the sidewalk, and the little kid plop falls down, and whah, whah. What do you hear? Crying and crying. And you know what? The mother wants to just get that kid to stop crying. And if she has a cookie or a cracker or a donut in her, she's going to plug that thing right in the kid's mouth. And the kid's going to go, whap. And that little plug goes in there, that cookie or that cracker. And the mother says, shh, quiet, be good, it's okay. And the child learns in this moment to begin to distract him or herself from her feelings or his feelings through distraction. Let me tell you something. All feelings are good when they're coming from accurate perceptions. But that's not what you learned. You learned to deny, repress, and otherwise not feel your feelings. And to not feel your feelings through a process of distraction. Feel bad, distract. Before I get into that, you're going to hear me use two words kind of interchangeably. Now, I might talk about feelings, I might talk about emotions. And basically, as I go on through this program, they're pretty much the same thing. Technically, let me tell you a little bit about myself and where this all came from. What I'm talking about doesn't come from some stuffy old graduate school somewhere or some dusty old book that says psychology on it or counseling. It comes from thousands of hours of working with clients who are in hypnosis. And when they're in hypnosis, I can speak directly to the subconscious mind and find out what's going on using a number of different techniques. It might be simple dialogue, or it might be age regression techniques or parts work. These kinds of things have allowed me to really get in there and understand why people are having their problems. Now, what basically happens is an individual has a perception. The individual sees something go on, and then he or she gives it meaning. This meaning occurs in the subconscious mind. If the meaning is understood to mean that the situation that's just been perceived is going to lead to the fulfillment of a need, want, or desire, then your subconscious mind will start creating very good feelings. Actually, what happens is there's an interaction between the subconscious mind, which is the place where all your memories are stored, along with your beliefs and habits, and the unconscious mind. Now, the unconscious mind is the part of your mind that regulates and controls your body. When you have a perception, and the meaning that you get from that perception is that you're going to be able to fulfill a need, want, or desire, then the unconscious mind, the part that controls the body, starts to make you feel good. You feel good when you're happy. You feel good when you're in a state of gratitude. You feel good when you're in a state of joy. Now, that's the good feelings. But sometimes we have feelings that are painful. We call bad feelings. How does that come about? Again, you have a perception. In the subconscious mind, a meaning is assigned to that perception, and the meaning is that you're either going to be able to fulfill a need, want, or desire or not. If the case is not, what's going to happen is there's an automatic interaction between the subconscious mind and the unconscious mind. Once again, the unconscious mind is the part that regulates your body, and the unconscious mind will bring on physical feelings that don't feel good. Sadness doesn't feel good. Anger doesn't feel good. Frustration, depression, loneliness, all these feelings don't feel good. They are actually emotionally painful. So back to this question, what's the difference between emotions and feelings? Emotions are generated in the subconscious mind. But really, we are not aware of how we feel until we feel them in our body. And so when our unconscious mind interacts with the meaning that's being assigned to what we perceive in the subconscious mind, we begin to feel. The unconscious mind begins to make us feel bad. Could be angry, sadness, loneliness, frustration, depression, guilt, whatever. All right. So then, we've been told that we shouldn't feel bad. In the 1,000 hours of work that I've conducted with hypnotized clients, I've discovered that there are specific causes to these behaviors, such as eating too much, drinking too much, smoking too much, and so on. And what is it? It is the feel bad, distract cycle. Now, before we get into that in too much detail, I want to make sure you understand something. All feelings are good. Anger is good. Sadness is good. Loneliness is good. All of these feelings are good when they're based on accurate perceptions. So, first of all, we have the perception. If that perception is accurate, then a meaning will be assigned to it that's accurate, and you will have accurate emotions. For example, if you see something going on and you perceive that situation as being dangerous, then you're going to feel fearful. And your unconscious mind will start generating feelings in the body that are associated with what? With fear. For example, you might have the experience of fight or flight. Psychologists like to call it the fight or flight reflex. And what is that really? The unconscious mind releases chemicals into the body like adrenaline, and your body then might start to tremble or shake, or your muscles might start to twitch and tighten. Your cognitive faculties speed up, and you decide very quickly whether you need to fight to protect yourself or what? Run away, flight. So, what I really want you to understand here is all feelings are good when they're based in reality. So if you perceive a situation to be dangerous, you need to feel fearful. Your body starts to engage in a way that prepares you to respond to the dangerous situation in a way that can protect you, the things or people that you care about. However, if that perception was inaccurate, then that fear is an erroneous fear. It shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be happening at all. If you feel afraid when your perceptions are not based in reality, then we have useless, ignorant feelings. That is fear. All right. So now we've got that going on. Cal, why do people do such crazy stuff? This is why. They feel bad. They've been told, trained, and it's been drilled into them that they shouldn't feel bad. And if they do, they certainly shouldn't bother anyone else with those feelings by crying or getting upset. And so we've learned to repress them. Somewhere in our life, probably through teaching or modeling, we've learned that we can distract ourselves, and by distracting ourselves, control the emotions. What do drinkers do when they get angry or upset? What do overeaters do when they get angry or upset, frustrated, or lonely? You see, what happens is we feel bad, distract. Smokers smoke, drinkers drink, eaters eat, workaholics work, and so on. Feel bad, distract. These feelings that we experience when we're perceiving that our needs, wants, or desires are not going to be met, I'm going to call those primary feelings, because later on I'm going to talk about secondary feelings and so on. But whenever we perceive a situation as not meeting our needs, wants, and desires, we're going to feel bad. Those bad feelings are things like anger, sadness, loneliness, all of those kinds of things, guilt, and so on. Because we've been trained not to respond to those things in a satisfying way, but rather to distract, we get into a cycle of eating too much, drinking too much, smoking too much, and so on. So what I'd like you to do is, in your mind, just kind of make a drawing on the wall. And on that wall, there's a sad face. And then what I'd like you to do is draw an arrow from that sad face to the word distract. The distractor could be eating too much, smoking too much, drinking too much, smoking too much, whatever it is. What happens is while you're engaging in the distracting feeling, you feel better by simply taking your mind off of what was bothering you. But the problem is, as soon as you stop doing the problem behavior, you wind up right back. Now you can draw another arrow back from the distractor to the sad face. You see, feel bad, distract. As soon as you get done distracting, feel bad. Now what does this do? What this does is it causes us to start thinking about the distractor again. Think about this. Here you are, you're upset about something, and you decide, you know what, I'm going to have some Rocky Road ice cream. That'll make me feel better. Then you go to the freezer, you get out a bowl of Rocky Road ice cream, and while you're eating that, you're thinking, gosh, I do feel better. And then you get done with it, you put that bowl in the sink, you sit down, and that thing that was bothering you starts bothering you again. And what are you naturally going to do? You're going to start thinking about the thing that most recently made you feel better. Maybe you'll think about the Rocky Road ice cream. Maybe you'll think about what else is there in the refrigerator. What else is there in the cupboard? And such as that is the cycle is started again. Feel bad, distract. Feel bad, distract. Feel bad, distract. Each time you go through that cycle, it reinforces the habit. And pretty soon, even before you're aware of feeling bad, your mind will just protect you from those feelings by giving you the idea, gosh, I wonder what's in the refrigerator. Or, gosh, I wonder what's in the cupboard. Or, gosh, I'd sure like to have a cigarette. Or, gosh, I'd sure like to have a drink. Or, who'd like to go shopping with me? And then what happens as soon as you get done with those behaviors, the thing that was bothering you is still bothering you. So now I've got the basic part of this down. The secret language of feelings says, all feelings are good. They're there to help and guide you. They're there to motivate you to do the sometimes difficult things you need to do to satisfy your needs, wants, and desires. However, that's not what we've been taught. We've been taught you need to be quiet, you need to buck up, you need to just stiff upper lip, old boy, that kind of thing. And somewhere along the line, through either modeling or teaching, we've learned to manage our feelings by eating too much, drinking too much, working too much, shopping too much, sexing too much, and all of these kinds of things. So what happens is when we engage in those kind of behaviors, as soon as we get done with the behavior, we're back to feeling bad. So I've introduced this idea of distracting and distractors. Distractors are things that we do that briefly take our mind off of the feeling or the thing that's making us feel bad, and as a result we feel better. That reinforces the probability that we're going to do it again. And so we do it again and again and again, and it becomes a habit and we fall into the rut. In the next program, I'm going to talk about why this is so bad and how it leads to other feelings like frustration and depression. Well, that's it. I don't know how long this one's been, but I wanted to get started with it. If you want to be in on the conversation, go to the Yahoo groups. If you want to, if you're listening to this program somewhere else besides thesecretlanguageoffeelings.com, go there. We'll have notes and other resources available to you. And we're going to really begin to help you understand why people do things that are so crazy, and then how to really begin to live a happier, more satisfying life. And here's a hint. Distracting your feelings will always lead to feeling bad. What we need to do, and we're going to learn more about this in the upcoming programs, is learn how to respond to those feelings in a satisfying way. And what's going to happen is you're going to learn how to live a happier and more satisfying life than you've ever lived before. And because you're going to understand why people do such crazy things, you're going to have an unfair advantage over just about everybody you know, because you're going to have an insight to their behavior that they just don't have. Okay, with that much said, I'm going to end this program. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you check back. We're going to go into so many different things like the wisdom of anger, the wisdom of sadness, the wisdom of loneliness, why frustration is good, and something, here's a sentence you've never heard before, or can you believe it? There's a such thing as normal, healthy depression. All right, keep checking back. Once again, this is Cal Banyan with thesecretlanguageoffeelings.com. Over and out. This recording is the property of Cal Banyan and Cal Banyan's Banyan Publishing Incorporated. All rights reserved for private use only. May not be duplicated without written permission.